Hey everybody, what's going on? All right, back with a new video today. I just wanted to recognize that today is a special 23rd anniversary today of a certain little movie that is, I don't know, I like to think it's maybe a little misunderstood. Uh, I certainly have felt different about it over the years. I'm talking about a little Wes Craven movie called Scream 3. Bit of a controversial movie when it first came out, right? Like if you're like me and you're one of the original fans that went to the first Screams in the theater and it sort of revived horror for you like it did for me. Like I grew up being an 80s nutbag with horror, right? Like and I felt like things had kind of slowed down a little bit. Wasn't all that exciting. I mean, sure, there's a few good movies here and there that came out for sure, but I felt like it wasn't really doing it for me. And then Scream came out, and it just changed everything. It's like it sparked all these other movies that were similar in ways. So the first one I watched and loved, of course. The second one I thought was really well done as well. I think it's still my second favorite of the entire series. But the third one, when I first saw this movie back in 2000, I remember coming out of the theater thinking, that wasn't that great. And they shouldn't have killed Randy off in the first place, right? It was neat how they brought him back in video, but, you know, the whole story was I just wasn't really into it. I thought it was kind of crappy. And I don't know, years went by and then, 4 came out and I wasn't a big fan of 4. I didn't really like that one too much. And then 5 just last year, I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't amazing or anything, but I thought it was pretty good. I figured it was probably better than 3 and 4, But since those movies have come out, I've actually sort of revisited Scream 3 just for the hell of it because I hadn't seen it in so many years. And I don't know, there was something about it that just brought me back to that time of the original Scream and then the second one. Well, they were all made within what, 4 years of each other? So, everything still seemed pretty fresh. The characters still seemed like themselves. They didn't really age much at all. There's something about it that was kind of welcoming, because I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to see a story like this again, even though it's not great. But I don't hate on Roman like I sort of did at first, or like some people did, sort of thought he wasn't the greatest killer. I thought he wasn't bad. He was an okay killer. I thought they could have done more with Cotton Weary. I thought the opening death scene it was decent, but not my favorite. I felt like they could have done more cool stuff with Cotton. If they had somehow linked Cotton in there, he was there from the very beginning. He was the one who was accused of the murder. It would be interesting to see him as Ghostface or something, because he's still tied into the original killers. Or they could have even spun it so that somehow Cotton was working with you know, Billy and Stu or something, like they really could have done some interesting things. So I guess maybe at first I was a little annoyed by it, but looking back on it now, I think it's like an underrated little movie. Like I think I might like it more than the last 2 Scream films that came out, just because I don't know, maybe it feels like home to me, or it's my older demographic maybe that was, watching these things, in my early 20s. By the time Scream 3 came out, yeah, I just, like I said, wasn't as impressed. But looking back on it now, I think it's a decent little movie. I really don't mind it at all. So I just wanted to give a little shout out to the 23rd anniversary of Scream 3. Often misunderstood. If you haven't watched it in a long time and you're somebody that, have been into the Scream films since the very beginning, I recommend checking it out again. Because I know a lot of us were like, it's stupid, we didn't even go back there. So I don't know. There's something refreshing about it now, I suppose, that just feels like that era. We're in a whole different era now. The new movies are much different. But how about that Scream 6 trailer, though? Man, that's still, I was really impressed. I'm trying to take it with a grain of salt because I thought the Halloween Ends trailer was pretty awesome. It looked like it was going to be great. Not that it's not great in its own right. We don't need to get into that whole thing, but it's nothing like what I was expecting. What do you guys think about Ghostface and the shotgun, by the way? I know a lot of people are all bent out of shape over it, you know? And it really doesn't bother me. I feel like if he's still going to be doing the same thing, more or less, with the buck, you know, good. That's what we want to see. I don't want to see him constantly packing a shotgun. But I have no problem with him disarming somebody or taking one and you know, splattering a few people along the way or whatever with it out of convenience in a convenience store. There's the irony. I don't know. I just think it looks cool. It looks like it's fun, and it looks like it's exciting. And sort of like I mentioned before, you know, it's like when Jason Takes Manhattan came out. It was like this going to be this big thing, you know. I think that film had some higher expectations for, whoa, this is going to be neat. We're going to see him in the middle of New York City, and we never really got that. You know, we had a lot of scenes on the Lazarus. They didn't have the budget to do a lot of filming in New York. They only did a teeny bit, and of the other New York scenes, as you know, it was all Vancouver. So it'll be interesting to see a lot of stuff that actually got filmed in New York, and it looks like New York, and I think it's going to be a little bit more of that kind of movie I think we were expecting way back in, like, what was it, 1989 when that came out? Something like that. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Well, definitely a big shout out for the Big 23 anniversary. Yeah, it's really grown on me quite a bit, I think. I don't hate it nearly as much as I did when it first came out. And it does have some clever kills in it and stuff. It's a decent movie. So it's grown on me over time. Yeah, Part 3 didn't even do that bad in the box office. I think what was it? It had a $40 million budget, which I thought was kind of wild. You guys realize that? 23 years ago, they gave them $40 million to make the third Scream movie? Can you say successful? Or they're like, yeah, just $40 million budget. Like, that budget's bigger than a lot of modern day big horror films today, right? And they pulled in 162 million out of it. So, I mean, it's 4 times more of their money back. So even though it wasn't received the greatest back then, it still did pretty well commercially, you know. But yeah, I think it probably could use another watch or two from some of you folks that maybe haven't seen it in a really long time, or if you're looking for that older school Scream feel, like I sort of was after watching these new ones. It just felt very different, and when I went back to the third one, I was like, oh, that feels like a little closer to the main story, I guess, even though they went out on a stretch with Sid's mom and everything. So anyway, yeah, great movie, and I just wanted to give a nice little shout out to it for its 23-year anniversary. So yeah, if you haven't seen it in a while, check it out again. So that's pretty much it for now. I am going to be doing a pickups video very soon as well. I have some cool stuff I got in. I posted the other day on YouTube just about a pickups video that I was going to put together that had some steelbooks in it and stuff too. And I know I showed you the Halloween Ends steelbook. I also got the Zavvi versions in, and they're surprisingly different. You know, they look kind of different. So it'll be interesting to take a look at those, as well as some vinyl I got and some nice pickups from Fright Rags that finally came in from their year-end clearance sale. Got some sweet little pickups there too. So be sure to tune in for that. And yeah, hopefully I will have that out a little later this weekend. Hope, if all things go well. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys, and we will see you again for another one. Take care.